Hello, everyone. I'm Shawn Adams, and with me is my partner,
Ryan Marino.
And we are at the Darkside 1K Proquest for Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, so we got a pretty sick top 8 matchup going on right now. We have Peter on Chane against Andrew on Dash.
Yeah, it's a pretty...
I believe the only of each of those decks in the top 8.
Correct.
Outside of a lot of Starvo, some Oldhim, some Prism, and I think Alexi, right?
Yeah, there is Alexi in the top 8. Alexi has made quite a few top 8 appearances, has yet to bring one home. Peter, I believe this is his third straight top 8 appearance. He has yet to bring one home, and I believe Andrew, this is his first top 8 ever in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, I believe Peter last week was on Starvo.
No, Peter was on Chane last week as well.
Was he Chane?
Yeah.
The week before, right?
The week before he was on
Gotcha.
Starvo, yeah. Starvo week 1, and then Chane on back-to-back weeks.
I mean, he's got some range.
Yeah,
Then again, I mean, Andrew was crushing, a lot of Prism players here today.
Yeah, the meta crusher with the dash, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I know I didn't prepare much for Prism and got bodied by it, so happy to see that somebody did and got rewarded for it.
Yep. So the players are just shuffling their decks. I do believe Peter is the 2 seed, so he will play first.
Yeah, Peter. I think Peter's only loss was to Matt Rogers.
Yes,
so
in the left final round. Yeah.
The 2.
Yeah. Like Ryan said, Dash was preying on the Prism players today. I think he played 3 Prism players in back-to-back rounds. So it's nice for him, especially when you're prepared with the hero. That it's a pretty tough matchup for Prism. It's not.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a cakewalk, but
lots of free action points flying around.
Yeah,
that's never good when you're spending 4 mana or 4 resources to play an aura.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And the high octane turns are that's what Dash wants to do.
Yep.
Set up, hit a high octane turn, and then just put the pedal to the metal.
All of their auras as they play them.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get the free action points, and then you just pop them with a pistol, whatever. Meanwhile, you're going to the face with the boost attacks. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, players just finishing shuffling up right now. Excited to see the equipment. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're both going to be very standard with... I don't think there's going to be anything out of the ordinary. It's probably going to be, Teklo, Arcanite Skull Cap. The arm piece for Dash, I'm not too sure. We'll see that in just a second when it gets flipped over. And then the Dash boots. All right, so it is Null Rune.
It is Null Rune. No Goliath Gauntlet like normal you see normally with Dash. Looks like Peter's got Husk, Arcanite Skullcap, Grasp of the Arknight, and Spellbound Creepers.
Yeah, very standard Chane with the Rosetta Thorn, that incredibly powerful weapon.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that it's up there.
So Peter starts with a Soul Shackle into Rosetta for 2, floating 2 resources.
Yeah, pretty standard turn. As Chane, you don't really care too much about your first turn outside of making that shackle, but it looks like a good one here. He's going to make the Quicken token with Flock.
That's a pretty good way to start turn 2.
Yeah. Well, turn 1. Did he not go
Well,
first?
I'm saying Quicken token on turn 2 to start. Yes. So now the Dash player will draw back up, and I'm going to see a lot of blue pitches.
Yeah.
and tokens. So
yeah, I imagine there's going to be a lot of pistols firing this round or this game, and we'll see how many items he can get on board. I know one of the main ways to beat Chane is by hitting critical mass with your
induction chambers and your plasma purifiers. Yeah,
I forgot the names of those. So thank you,
Shawn. I forget them every time when I'm playing them too. The plasma purifier gives you +1 damage.
Yeah,
and induction chamber is
pistol attacks until end of turn.
Yes.
So very strong card. I used to not know that it was pistol attacks, and I thought it was still good. It just gave 1 pistol +1 attack.
So it looks like Dash is shot with the pistol and then reset up and then played another item, played a purifier. So we've got 1 and 1 on the board. For those of you who don't know, Dash's character ability, hero ability, allows them to start the game with an item 2 or less. So most players start with the induction chamber.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like Pete with a nice hit right there on the Bounding Demigon going into turn 1. So it'll be nice to see if So we got another Flock.
Flock with the Quicken token, giving a
Gloomveil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pete with the powerful turn 2.
Yeah, so that is he did make an aura for Gloomveil right there.
Yes. That's pretty key. So it's 5 go again off the Quicken token.
Yeah, looks like it's just going to be a T-Bone block.
Yep.
Actually, a really powerful card out of Everfest for Mech. It was probably the only one that's going to be a mainstay in these lists to come.
Yeah, the T-Bone is a very Some people are running the blues and the reds.
From what I've seen, it's you play the sets of each because it's a 0 hit with relevant text outside of just blue booster.
That's true. So he plays Shadow of Ursa using the Quicken token.
Yep.
So we have a 2 go again.
2 go again.
He's yet to shackle, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he is very rich in action points at the moment, so it makes sense that he hasn't done it.
Shackles and just comes in for 2 with Rosetta.
Yep. And I'd like to see if we get a bounding this turn. He might also just make a... oh, yeah, there's a Gloom Veil.
Gloom Veil.
He's going to play that. I was thinking he was either going to play the Gloom Veil or play the bounding, but it makes sense that he does because it does have go again right now.
He cannot play the bounding because he hasn't played a non-attack this turn.
Gotcha.
So you need a non-attack action for boundings, and Unhallowed Rites are the cards in the chain list that need the non-attack.
Thank you. I knew I was missing something. You're the chain expert.
Yeah.
I'm just swinging Dawn Blades.
I've practiced against Peter enough to know exactly what the cards do.
Yeah, a good thing about Peter, too, is he'll hold you to it in testing.
Yes, he wants the best out of you, makes the best out of him.
Exactly. And, I mean, the results are showing.
So it looks like Dash, 4 block, is going to pump the pistol, shoot for 3. I'm going to narrate here and say they're going to give it go again, load up the pistol, and shoot again.
What's the over-under? You don't think pistol for 1 pass is going to be happening this
I
time?
don't know. I don't know if you take the counter off the plasma purifier. Peter takes the 3. 34, 35. There's the go again. And he's going to load up.
There we go. Looks like he's still got 1 resource floating after this.
Yeah.
Probably go on the pistol. Oh, no. It's going to be a zipper hit. I believe that is a zipper hit right there. And it does not look like he's going to be boosting because there's not much point in doing that now that you don't have any more resources.
Correct. Peter's looking to block with maybe 1 card.
Yeah, I could definitely see him making a 1-card block right now. It just, he's probably, weighing out his hand, seeing exactly what he's going to be able to accomplish this next turn.
Yeah, it looks like the card that is blocking, that's a flock of Featherwalkers.
Yeah, so that is his 3rd flock of the Featherwalkers, but I believe he's on 5. I don't know the quantities.
Yes,
I believe 3 blue, 2 red, or 3 red,
3 red, 2 blue, I believe.
Gotcha. Very powerful card.
So
that is a Mavrine Skies and a 2nd Bounding Demagon.
Yep. So Peter here is going to pitch, and he's going to play
a Ghostly
Visit. And looks like he's soul shackled first.
Yep, little T-bone block. And
CNC, wow.
Command
for 6.
Not for full value right now, but it is going to get full blocked as Andrew did not have an arsenal there. Still a devastating 6 attack for 2 is something you never want to be on the back end of.
No. And Peter's looking like he's setting up a probably large turn with the boundings.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably looking for a belittle Minnowism into probably double bounding.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does look like he's got a good start for next turn. He has a Gorganian Tome.
Yeah, that's
which will be that non-attack action.
So it's a 24-34. As the Dash player appears, there's a whiff on the Shoal Shackles. I don't think that matters in turn 3. I think 4, 5, and 6 are the power turns for Chane. We'll see what Pete can put together here.
Definitely, but
he starts off with the belittle. That's what Chane players love, the belittle Minnowism package.
Definitely.
I think the flock belittle Minnowism package makes Chane as strong as he was before the ban. It's not the same kind of deck, but it does have the explosive power that the pre-Seeds ban deck had. I know Seeds was like a ridiculous card.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was a good inclusion, but it's not Seeds of Agony.
No, but being able to go get the blue Minnowism, I believe that's what Pete went and got. It gives you resource cards for free. So,
and it looks like he has a Captain's Call in hand. Maybe that was the card I thought was a Gorganian Tome, which is still very good.
Yep, there's the Minnowism.
Very, very powerful.
Shackle. Here comes the first
combo.
Bounding Demagon.
I mean, Belittle Minnowism was near unbeatable when it was in sealed.
Correct.
Giraffe,
Yes.
let alone constructed.
Yeah. It is a very powerful idea, searching your deck for a card. It does kind of mesh up your pitch stacking, but with the Chane player shackling, I don't think that's really what they're going for. They're more or less going for the Ursa turn and the grindy matchups.
Yeah.
So.
Well, especially against Dash, I feel like your critical mass turns are typically going to overpower the Dash players.
Yeah.
And it seeing the cards that he's played so far, it doesn't look like he's on full control unless he's just been missing a lot of defense reacts.
There's another bounding out
Yeah,
of
looks
the
like
yard.
it's going to be a go again bounding.
Yep. And then he's probably looking to Soul Shackle, or not Soul Shackle, I'm sorry, make a Rune Chant and then swing with Rosetta.
Yeah, man, Rosetta Thorn, incredibly powerful card. And that's exactly what we're going to see.
So there's one Rune Chant, 2 and 2. Rosetta Thorn, one of the most ridiculous.
Yep, and that is an
cards.
induction chamber that was pitched. A very unfortunate card to have in hand when you're trying to block or use Arcane Barrier, considering it doesn't do either of those very well.
Yes. Having items in your hand as a Dash player when you need to block is not what you want.
Not at all.
So he looks like he's just coming out for 2, and he has no setup. So this is the turn where the Chane player will want to push the gas because the Dash player used their resource to shoot with the pistol, the only counter, and they were not able to reload up.
And we do see another whiff off of the Soul Shackle, and that is notably a second Art of War out of the deck, which is not what you want to see when you're on the Chane side of things, but we'll see if he could pull through after that really unfortunate variance right there.
So we start with a Shadow Puppetry.
All right, that is a solid one. So
into a Riftbind with Go Again.
Yeah, so that is going to be a 4, I believe, right?
4 Go Again with 2 floating.
Is Riftbind red? Is it 2 or 3?
I believe it's 3, gets +1 for each non-attack played before it
So
from
it'd be
Banished.
That's
from 4, yeah, so it just gets the 1 bonus.
Thank you, thank you.
And
This
now
is
Pete can...
Chane 101 right here, guys.
Yes, so Pete can choose to banish if he would like to. He does not. He does do Revel in
Yeah,
Runeblood,
Revel in
another
Runeblood.
really broken card from Everfest. He's going to Shackle and swing with Rosetta, so it's...
Yeah, we're going to see 6 Arcane, 2 of which is connected, and 2 physical. So pretty big attack right here into the Dash player who is...
Another thing interesting for players to note that when you play Revel in Runeblood, the Rune Chant and the Rosetta triggers can happen at the same time. So you can choose to have 4 Rune Chants trigger first, then the 2 arcane damage, or you could do it 2 first and then 4. It does matter sometimes,
especially against Arcanite Skullcap.
Correct. Yes, you may not want them to be able to turn on the Skullcap. So he's blocking with Skullcap here. And he's keeping some cards in his hand, so Dash is looking to turn back here.
There we go. I notably think that was a very good block with the Skullcap, seeing as it doesn't look like there's going to get too much value to get out of it, as the life totals of both players are pretty low, and I don't think Pete is on the blocking side of things anytime soon.
No.
He is at 5 Soul Shackles, and typically when you're at 5 Soul Shackles, you are ready to...
Yeah, pedal to the metal. And remember, for players that don't know, Chane has Husk, which is just a free 6 block. As long as you're above 13 health when your turn starts, it stays around, which allows the Chane player to pivot late if they fall behind, or just...
Yeah, at the small cost of 1 Blood Debt a turn, I mean, it's the perfect thing to counter, crucial Command and Conquers coming your way, or any other powerful on-hit effects. It's arguably the best card that Chane has had outside of, I would say maybe Seeds of Agony.
Yes. Husk is another ridiculous card Chane has access to. So here we go with Soul Shackle 5.
We agree, and I can see as how he's been playing this game so far, we have seen a decent amount of Blood Debt get pitched, so he is getting ready for that big crucial turn in the late game, and I think that might be coming pretty soon.
Aragon's Gorganian Tome.
There's that tome.
Art does look very similar here as the Captain's Call. I could see how you made the...
Yeah.
It does look very similar on camera here.
Definitely. Gorganian Tome, incredibly powerful card. It's one of those ones that doesn't look too good until... you use it and realize that it was completely free, yet turned on any card that requires action or non-attack actions.
There's Soul Shackle 6. Here comes the bounding, like as Ryan had stated.
That is for 4, I believe.
For 4, yeah. So 4 Go Again, and he's using a Sync.
Is that the first defense reaction we've seen
looks
of this Dash player this
looks
game?
like it, yeah.
That is
I don't know, but it looked like he might have just drawn a High Octane.
I don't think it was a High Octane. I think it was a Pedal to the Metal.
Oh, Pedal to the Metal,
yes,
yes,
yes. I could be mistaken, but it did not look like a High Octane.
I'm trying to look at Peter's hand, and he loves to flick his cards insanely fast. Is that a Minnowism in hand?
Maybe we should stop declaring with these cards.
yeah.
He's gonna. We think it's a Minnowism. It's gonna be like an Eclipse. We were right.
Pitching the Minnowism, making a Rune Chant.
There we go. Nice. There was the attack and non-attack action played, so if he does want to get into that Rosetta Thorn, he can get full value out of it.
Just comes in with Ghostly.
Ghostly Visit. So
1 Arcane goes through. Now the Dash player has to deal with 4.
Yeah, notably this Dash player, he still has that 1 block from the Arcanite Skullcap. He also has a completely unscathed Techo Foundry Heart.
Yep.
So I'm sure, with the live total sitting at 13 and 16, we're going to see those utilized soon. But again,
Pete on Chane wants to Arsenal here because the 6 Soul Shackle turn is going to be a big one for him.
it will be massive. Yeah, that was a pedal to the metal right there.
Yep.
Blue, it looks like that was pitch. He's going to load up his equipment there, or his items. Come in with the pistol. Unfortunate turn for Peter, because it does look like he's not going to get full value out of this Carrion Husk. Maybe he'll get some blocks from hand, and they'll come at him with a zipper hit or something. He'll be able to cash that in, but we will see. Just go again on that pistol. It's better to do it now and force the issue, though.
Correct. The longer you can hold on to Husk, the better for the Chane player.
Notably, the Dash player just pitched a Magnetic Shockwave. Very interesting one, seeing as I guess it can force out on really, really big turns that block from the Husk and maybe even the Spellbound Creepers, but still one that you don't see too often in this type of matchup.
So looking at...
Looks like another pistol's coming in. I believe he did remove the induction chamber counter. I might be mistaken at the beginning of turn, but he did come in twice with the pistol that turn, and it looks like he's not going to arsenal the one card in hand.
And
ooh, another
Art of War and
almost
Soul
whiff.
Reaping coming out.
Two big ones right there as well. I mean, I can't see what or how many cards are left in Pete's deck, but I can imagine it is below 15 at this point.
Yeah, it's really rough. In the last 2 turns is 11 cards, and I think he's only gotten 2 cards out of those 11 that he's able to play, which is
pretty concerning on his end, but we'll see. I'm still sure that some of that pitch that he's been setting up is going to be coming up soon. And
so he shackles to 7.
Right.
Ghostly Visit.
Pitching a Minnowism coming in for 5. He does have 2 resources behind. And we're going to see a Fate for Scene. I believe that's a Ghostly Visit for 5, right?
For 4.
For 4, gotcha.
Here comes Swarming Gloomville for 3 go again.
Yep. A nice one. Incredibly powerful card in Chane.
Riftbind.
And that is a Riftbind, and it's not going to be for much.
Just drawing cards out of his hand.
So, again, one of those turns that when you're on the Chane side of things you really don't want to see. But I mean, this one coming up is the turn, I would say.
It does look like there's a Shadow Averser in hand.
Shadow Averser, a Belittle. Not too much beyond that. I'm not going to go reach in. I know I'm going to say something that is incorrect.
Looks like Peter's checking his deck. Dash player's coming in for 3. Looks like he removed the induction counter here.
Yep, and I do not see another card on the table. I don't think he has any cards in hand outside of that Magnetic.
Correct.
He 3 blocked last turn.
Yep.
So we're very likely to see Pete block this with either a card in hand or the Grasp, so his Carrion Husk doesn't go away. He would be facing, the go again on it, but he might still be able to keep that Husk for another turn.
Yeah, Grasp of the Arknight here is the 2 block, so taking 1 damage going to 15 is an option.
Definitely an option, especially if he has if he has a 2 block in his hand. This gets a little interesting, right? Because he does want to get full value out of his block. Because if he goes to 13, takes basically anything.
So he blocks with Skullcap and Grasp,
which I think is good because, like I said, if he has a 2 block in hand, he wants to be able to not lose his Husk this turn. I think that's exactly what we're going to see is that pistol comes shooting in, and Pete's going to block it with a 2. See, I believe Belittle does block for 2, correct?
I believe so, yes. Say Belittle red is usually so he's husking.
Wow, we do see the Husk come in. So he's banking on this turn to be pretty big, which you can't blame him. His shackles have not been very favorable this game. Let's see, that is looking a lot better.
There is some action there.
We got 3 good hits. That is a Howl from Beyond red. It looks like
a
Riftbind and a Bounding Demigon. So looking to see a huge turn out of Pete. I can't see much of Andrew's hand. I don't know if he has any D-reacts. Seeing as he's only played 2 this game, I could imagine he's drawn into some, but...
So pitch is going to Shadow Verser. Oh, he's going to go get the blue Minnowism.
There we go.
He's going to get some more resource.
I do not know the name of the card he just revealed, but I do know it was from Everfest, and you play the blue pitch because it's very good.
Shrill of Skullhorn.
Shrill of Skullhorn.
It is a 2 cost. If you've made an aura, it's a 5 attack,
gotcha.
Which is it's a block 3 blue. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. It does trigger Belittle, so
yeah. Also a very good blue pitch.
Very good card, yes. Late game when you have a 2 for 5 off of blue, which is good for Rune Blades. So we see the CNC block on the Minnowism.
I do see some non-attack actions in Pete's hand, which is very good, seeing as he's got a few attack actions sitting over there in the banish zone.
So he's looking to get home here and probably finish with a Rosetta attack for the kill if he can pull the right amount of cards out of the hand and still get the blood debt cleared and basically full value.
It's a tough ask. It looks like he has 7 or 8 cards left in his deck, which
so he'll draw
is
one more
fine
time
because he will get another hand and get a big turn off that shackle. He's probably thinking about,
Yeah, it looks like that Shadow Averser will go underneath.
Definitely.
So that will definitely be in the final turn.
I think that might be an Unhallowed Rites in his hand as well.
That's also that's
Between
good.
A
You
Shrill and a Minnowism.
Correct. We could see him play Howl here and then Unhallowed to
Bottom
the
just any powerful.
Yeah. Well, Howl from Beyond, it's got to be a blood debt non-attack action with Unhallowed.
Gotcha.
So that Howl could just recycle back for that final turn.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's a very close game so far. Dash is doing a good job at turtling up and applying some amount of pressure, so Pete has to get some cards up to send every turn.
Yeah,
Not
Pete
too
will
sure
be
where this one's
taking
gonna go.
1 point of blood debt regardless of what he does. Perhaps more if he tries to set up. It doesn't look like we've seen Eclipse. So he's going to use Spellbound Creepers here to play the Howl from Beyond.
Yep. And then pitch a Minnowism.
Got 2 floating.
Yep.
Got 2 action points.
There we go. Again, Pete very good with his dice, making sure everything's quite visible. I mean, granted, the dice might not be too visible from the camera view, but he is very good at being verbal and vocal.
So he does the 2 action points to...
And we do see that Howl getting back into the deck.
Bottom. So we've got 7 with an extra action point. So no go again, but he does have an action point after this.
I do not believe he's made a shackle either this turn.
Nope, still has his shackle. Yeah, he can go to shackle 8, which is usually...
Yep, we see a block
there's
for
a block.
4, I believe, or 3. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotcha.
Yep. The key here is now if he shackles... Well, that Skullcap already has a counter on it, so the Skullcap will be no longer useful.
Definitely. He does look like he's in a very good spot, though, in this moment, seeing as Bounding Demigod is a 0 pitch. He does make that Rune Chant. It looks like he's probably going to make a
damage.
shackle and come in with that Rift Bind.
There it is.
There's a big one. What is that Rift Bind for?
Looks like he played...
I know there's at least 1
7.
Arcane coming.
I think that Rift Mine is for 5, if I'm correct.
Gotcha.
So he took 2. So he pitched for the Arcane, and then 2 and 2 with Rosetta.
Yep.
He blocks the full block, so he takes 2 Arcane. Or did he...
I believe he took...
Oh, I think he used
he
the
pitched
blue
blue.
pitch
He
for
pitched
Arcanite
blue.
Skullcap because he does have Arcane Barrier 3, yeah.
Gotcha.
So here comes the hand. Is it 8 to 14? The Dash player will draw back up.
And this is the turn, everybody. So we are going to see if Pete can come out of this one. He did hit every card he expected to.
So
Great job this game at stacking the deck. He's got 4 cards in his exile. It just comes down to how much go again he can give his stuff. I do see Minnowism as well that he pitched.
Yep. He's got a good setup here. It's interesting to see the Chane player get to the bottom of the deck. Dash is at 8 life, so it is not... If we consider that Dash has 3 or 4 3 blocks, he can block for 12. So Peter has to push at least 20 damage here, and preferably do it with expending the cards first, so that way Rosetta's 2 and 2 at the end will push through the final 4, or maybe the final 2 if the Arcane Barrier is gone. So this is definitely where calculation comes in as a Chane player. You have to very much sequence this very carefully.
Yeah, I do see it looks like a Revel and Runeblood in Pete's hand as well.
That could be the key there.
Definitely.
So he pitches the Bounding.
You do see that Howl.
Plays Howl. He's got 1 floating.
Again, Pete taking his time. Very well-versed player in situations like this, especially when you play a lot of Chane. Most of your games end up like this.
Yeah, most of your games come to the end here where you need to have sequenced right, pitched correctly. So he's going to Soul Shackle and play the Bounding. So it's going to be 7?
Right? Yeah.
7 go again. So the
Bounding's...
shackles don't matter here. They're just free go again.
Yep.
So he's blocking for 2. It looked like that might have been yellow. Yeah, it might have been yellow. Makes a rune chant. Revel and Runeblood make more rune chants.
And I think we might see a Shadow of Ursa from Banish pitching the one in his hand. This would leave him with 2 floating to make another rune chant and enough to play that bounding again. So,
well, he can't play. He already made a rune chant. It's once per turn. So he's leaving the 2 up to try to find the Rosetta. So he's pitching the Arcane. He's pitching a blue. We're blocking. So Rosetta for 2 and 2. Pete got it done exactly as we said.
Incredibly, incredibly well played by Pete. He had set up that pitch stack perfectly, and every single card mattered down to the wire.
Correct. He did that right. Like you said, he finished with the Shadow of Ursa, banishing the Shadow of Ursa, which extracts the last card because of the Revel and Runeblood there, another busted card from Everfest, forcing the Arcane barrier. And then Rosetta with the 2 and 2 is just no cards in hand. You are not doing anything about it. So that's where this match is over and Pete has won. But some people favor the Spell Void because in those no card hands, the Spell Void can just be popped to stop that Rosetta damage. But when you're at 2 life, the physical was going to kill you anyways.
Definitely.
So
yeah, it's I don't know about you. I'm probably not playing Spell Void over.
I just like people are playing Shock Charmers specifically for only the Spell Void, but
okay. I actually like that, especially if you can afford any actual AB as well in that deck.
Yeah. So there's some interesting deck choices there. People have their preferences. It is an interesting idea if you find yourself in a situation like this. You use your Tectro Foundry Heart and Spell Void here, and you survive, and then the chain player is getting 2 cards back that they just pitched. It could be an interesting scenario. Again, Pete did a great job here pitching out, so Pete will advance on to the semifinals, a 14-2 score, and we'll be back with you in the next matchup.
Definitely.
So like whatever you guys tip away.
What's going on with these top?
All right, let me get this.
You better just click that.
Boom, look at that. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting our top 4 matchup.
So we got a really good one for you guys this time around. I know the heroes haven't been updated yet, but we do have Matt Rogers, all the way from New Zealand, you know, one of the faces of the game, if not the best player in the game at the moment.
When I tell people who is going to be here, I do say the best player in the game.
It's either him or Tarek.
Yeah, it's. I would give it to Rogers. He's done it longer. Tarek is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
This is going to turn into like a LeBron MJ GOAT conversation.
Yes,
so we got to stop now before it gets out of hand. But
we all know
he's
that
going to be playing
MJ's
against Matt Gideon, one of our Vegas locals here. He's got a very, very beautiful Prism deck against Matt Rogers on Starvo.
Yeah, this will be an interesting matchup. This is the kind of matchup that Prism players have been looking for all day long. Outside of the booth, we were talking to some players, and there was a lot of Prism here today, and it looks like they either preyed on each other or lost to Rune Blades, and it is Matt Gideon's sole copy of Prism that has made it to the top 8 and has now advanced. He beat Oldhim in the previous round.
Yeah, very one-sided match there.
That was also a Matt Rogers Oldhim list. If you've been watching Channel Fireball videos, Matt Rogers posted a deck tech on his Oldhim build, and that was the build that went into the top 8, and Gideon and his Prism beat it.
Here we go. So again, some very, very gorgeous cards on both sides of the table. It looks like a lot of cold foils there on Rogers' side, but I mean, Matt's also got a very, very
Matt's deck is
decorated
beautiful.
Pile of cards there.
Yes, beautiful pile of cards. The entire deck is probably a sight to behold. Matt is not just a collector of Prism. He plays her very well.
A lover of cards and, a very, very big Prism enthusiast who has gotten his reps in with this deck and knows what he's doing in most of these matchups.
So it looks like Starvo's equipment is going to be Findel's Tunic, Crown of Seeds, probably the 2 best cards he can run. He's got Crater Fist, standard arms for Guardian, and then looks like Time Skippers in there
to hedge both the Arclight Sentinel turns where you can't really get over that card, and also just be able to push through at multiple ores with multiple attacks.
Yes, especially when Prism's board gets freight trainy, where they keep going. The Time Skippers can definitely be.
It's going to be Peter versus Gideon.
Oh, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We will not have.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, John.
Matt Rogers will not be on camera, or Matt Gideon will not be on camera. The pairings are incorrect for this top 4. It will be Peter on Chane versus Matt Gideon on Prism, and then Matt Rogers will be playing the other Starvo.
Yeah, the other Starvo player. So it looks like it's going to be a Starvo mirror on the other side of the table. So we guarantee we'll see Starvo in the finals, but probably just some pairing issue going into this round. So let's see where this goes. It is. We were just told that it's a repair, and it does look like Matt Rogers is going to be putting
his stuff away. Yes.
I wonder what's
going
on here. You just changed to this. We are going to go confirm what is happening, and we will be right back, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shawn Adams. With me is
Ryan Marino, and we got a nice semifinal match here. We have Pete, who had just won a very, very close nail-biter against Dash on Chane, up against Matt Gideon, who's going to be playing Prism today.
As we allude to, Matt Gideon's deck is flossed out.
Yeah.
As you would say.
Lots of judge promos and very, very expensive cold foils in there. Everything from Everfest he's already acquired in foil, and he's on his way to having that equipment done too. He's really hoping that we can see a cold foil, or a gold cold foil Luminaris as the prize card this time around, and even better if he was able to win it. Granted, I don't know if that card comes as a gold cold foil this time around. But
I know the list is out of what cards are available. I have not studied it enough to let you know. I do know there are a few Null Rune pieces.
Yeah. Some good majestic equipment from Crucible.
Gambler's Gloves.
Gloves. Courage of Bladehold's a really nice one.
Courage of Bladehold, yeah, that's a beautiful card.
But I mean, we'll get to the gold foil when we get there.
Yes.
Right now we got a very nice match at our hands, and we'll see who can take this one down.
This will be, as we said in the last matchup, this is Pete's now third straight semifinal appearance in a ProQuest. Starvo and then Chane last week and Chane this week.
Yeah, so we could tell what flavor he's on right now, and we know that moving forward he's probably going to stay on this deck, seeing as, it has a decent Prism matchup. It has a pretty good, decent Starvo matchup.
Decent Starvo matchup.
Not great, but
if you ask Pete, he'll tell you that it's a buy because Pete is just a great player.
Yeah.
I do think that Starvo high rolling anybody is hard to deal with for any deck. Doesn't matter what your game plan is.
Definitely. Oh man, look at that hand over on Pete's side right there. That is an
Art of War. Yes,
Art
of War.
We were not able to see.
We were not able to see. He banished all 3 copies of Art of War and the card that I like the most, Soul Reaping.
Yeah.
He banished all the really powerful cards. He does get to start out with an Art of War here. I do believe Pete will go first.
Yeah, and it looks like his hand is Minnowism, Art of War, Scroll of Skullhorn. Is that what
Scroll of Skullhorn? Yeah.
And Howl from Beyond, I think. So pretty good starting hand. Again, as Chane, he is the 2 seed. He is going to be on the play, and you really, really want to be on the play with this deck as, those Rosetta Thorn, or sorry, not Rosetta Thorn, those Soul Shackles.
Soul Shackles, yes.
They go a long way.
So Pete looks like he arsenals the Art of War, which is just amazing. He does have a Time Snap Potion in his hand. He probably will look to end a turn with that Time Snap Potion as to try to push through as much damage and then give himself some Prism insurance, is like what I like to call Time Snap Potions.
Definitely. One good thing, though, about Matt's side is there's not too much stuff in the chain list right now that does trigger that Phantasm, so we could see a lot of these Heralds get in for a lot of damage. We do see a Wartune Herald. I believe that is a red one. We're kind of guessing here because we can't see that too
well. And it doesn't help that Matt foils out his deck, so we get a little bit of glare on the cards here, but yes, there is a Wartune coming in.
Yeah, and for anyone curious, that is a Crown of Reflection as Matt's Source of Arcane Barrier right there at his headpiece. Very, very powerful card.
Yes, that would have been a red. Pete took 7 damage there, so now we confirm that was a red Wartune Herald. Yeah. Looks like getting some
shiny shields coming in.
Shiny shields.
Going to be attacking him as well, and that is an Arsenal Pass. So really good turn 1 right there. 8 damage from Prism. Oh, that was the card that I was thinking that Pete can get a lot of equity out of banishing this turn as a Bounding Demigon. We could definitely see something along the lines of, Captain's Call into a, depending on which color Captain's Call that is, into like a Flock.
Yes, a Flock.
Into a Shackle, into a Bounding Demigon, into a Rosetta Thorn, or a Time Snap Potion to end the turn.
Oh, he's pitching the Time Snap. He does not need it now. He's going to Art of War. He's got 2 floating. He's banishing the Vexing.
Yeah.
He's going to draw 2 cards, and does he take Go Again, or does he take +1?
This we won't be able to confirm until we see how the turn plays out, but it can go both ways for sure. I could definitely see I could see the +1 being the play this turn.
Yeah.
He's got some Go Again going on right now.
Yeah, he's going to draw 2 cards, so he draws 2 cards. Looks like he did do Go Again.
Yeah, he did not choose to be able to block with attack actions from his arsenal this turn.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Very interesting line.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Yes, that's the most utilized version of Art of War, is to give your attacks Go Again and be able to block from arsenal with attack action cards.
For what it's worth, I guarantee you remember the games that you do that way more than you remember
yes, you do.
Games that...
So he is flocking with Go Again, making a Quicken token. He reveals the Captain's Call.
Yeah, so it was that Go Again that he gave his next attack.
Pops the soul shield off the...
Here we go. Yep, the spectral shield is gone, and a fate foreseen in reactions right there. Does have that quicken token, and he did pick up a really, really good... Is that 2 copies of...
Swarming Gloomville? That does look like 2 copies of Swarming Gloomville. So if he can Soul Shackle, that is a 4 go again. He can Bounding. There's the quicken token. Bounding.
Oh, and that is a Bounding for 4, I believe.
No, he can't play Bounding because no non-attack yet.
Oh,
he would have to play the Captain's Call, which is okay. He can Captain's Call, giving it +2.
Yep.
And then play Bounding with the quicken token. There comes another defense reaction.
And it definitely looks like Prism's just going to try to turtle up this game. That is a huge one off the top. It looks like Matt just found an Arclight Sentinel.
That's a beautiful thing, because if Pete Soul Shackles here,
There we go. And he's gonna
Soul Shackles into Rosetta for 2 and 2.
With that Rosetta, we could definitely see a turn where, granted, there is a chance that could have been a not Arclight Sentinel, but it definitely looked like one from what I was able to see.
And here comes the first Gloomville. So it is 4 go again because he has made 2 auras this turn.
Mm-hmm. Into
And
another
another
Gloomville, so...
I would hope they would
powerful
update the
turn.
phone.
Yeah, we will see what the life totals are at. I can imagine he took at least 10 that turn. And there it is, the Arclight Sentinel. So this is almost going to be like taking an extra turn on Matt's side of things. I don't see any extra action points on Pete's side right now. And yeah, we're going to have them update life totals right now because we're not too sure where they're at right now. I want to say Matt took at least 10, 12...
Wow.
13
Took
damage.
13 damage on the last turn.
Yeah, it was 4, 4, and 4 in a Rune Chant.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah. That's a...
But even with that Arclight Sentinel on that side of the board, Pete's hand, Soul Reaping, Art of War, Command and Conquer, and I believe a Bounding Demigon, so...
Wow, yeah, there's interesting there. No soul for the Soul Reaping, so it does not get natural go again.
Yep.
So it looks like Pete is just going to pop the Arclight Sentinel. And then...
I don't think he popped the Arclight Sentinel there. I believe he blocked the Arclight Sentinel with that Command and Conquer.
Yeah, what was going on there?
Because he just banished 2 off the top, so it looks like he's going to be going for a Soul Reaping, although not too sure what that's going to accomplish in the face of that Arclight Sentinel. I could definitely see a turn where he pitches that Bounding Demigon or the Soul Reaping, and yep, just attacks with the Rosetta Thorn.
Yep, just Rosetta Thorn, get the
Arclight
Arclight Sentinel and get that out of there, which does allow the Prism player, Matt, to tick up Tunic and keep a full hand. That's the best way to play Arclight Sentinel is during your own turn. You don't want to time walk yourself. You'd rather time walk the opponent.
Definitely.
I actually had someone earlier today play it on my turn, and I later on told them it was a mistake after I won because drawing up and not doing anything during your turn just allows a Rune Blade. I was on Rune Blade today. I was on Briar. Just allows you to just draw back up and push the gas pedal. So Matt plays that correctly here, and we'll see what his 4-card hand can produce.
All right, so it looks like he's pitching one this time around, and that's a strong one in this matchup. Parable of Humility, so for those of you that don't know, that does give attacking and blocking attack actions -1 attack.
Yeah, keeps you from popping heralds and also lets you mitigate some damage, which helps when you're making lots of spectral shields as well.
That card unanswered can usually equate to 10 plus damage being saved if people don't respect it. So
we're pitching a Captain's Call to play. Is that Art of War?
Yes, Art of War. He might be using that Art of War to +1/+1 get rid of that Parable detriment this turn.
Correct.
Draw up.
Looks like he drew into Garganian Tome, although it could be a Captain's Call because the art, as we confused in the last one.
That one is a Garganian Tome.
So he can Garganian Tome into the Bounding.
Yes, he can. He also has a Minnowism, which might be the way you want to go.
True.
And yeah, we will see probably this Shadow Averser coming from Banish, and then
banishing another
Bounding Demigon, and it looks like he'll probably be able to play his whole hand this turn.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful turn.
It's a lot of damage. It just comes down to if he respects that Parable of Humility, because even with that buff from the Art of War, it's a card that can go a long way.
So it's only 2. It should be 3, but the Art of War mitigates that damage. Here comes the Garganian Tome.
There we go. He drew into another Bounding Demigon. So it looks like his hand has a Minnowism, a Revel in Runeblood, and a Bounding Demigon.
Yeah,
Very powerful cards.
Revel in Runeblood is just a disgusting card
Yeah, if any of you were here last match.
Yeah. It was the finisher. It forced the Dash player to pitch one card to stop some of the arcane, which just opened him up to the 2/2 Rosetta, as we had correctly predicted the sequence would end.
Yeah, very, very typical way for Chane to close out a game, but there's a reason why it's in the top 4 right now, and it's doing well even after the bans. Multiple bans, you know, they lost Duskblade, which they never really got to see Duskblade in the first place, but they also lost, Seeds of Agony. Everybody predicted that the game would be dead, and there we go, Pete. Making the correct play right there, attacking that Parable of Humility. It looks like Matt is going to think about this. Maybe he could be thinking about doing something with...
flashing in a Merciful, maybe? No,
yeah,
if he just... Oh.
Ooh, I cannot see what Pete just played.
Oh, he used Spellbound Creepers.
Oh, gotcha.
So he can get his action point back.
Makes
So
sense.
he's playing the Minimalism to get his go again, get his action point back.
Yep. For anybody in chat who does not know how that works, Spellbound Creepers lets you play a non-attack action as though it were an instant, and if you play one that does have go again, it will give you an action point.
Yes. So he's soul shackled up, and now he's
Yep.
Minimalism into the Bounding. So and the Parable's off. Yeah, that's a good play by Peter. So
Very,
more
very
damage.
strong turn.
Yeah, very. And he still has Revel in Runeblood. There goes a Fate Foreseen.
All right. Very
So opting to go to bottom.
Yeah, very good recovery there for Matt, at least having that Fate Foreseen, not having to 2-block that, saving some damage.
Yep.
And it looks like they're just updating life totals from this turn, and there it is, Revel in Runeblood making 4 rune chance. And I could imagine we know where this last card in hand's going to go.
Yep. Here comes the Rosetta. So that's 4 2/2. That's another 8 damage
Definitely.
that Chane is able to present on back. It's just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous. It just made the already busted weapon even better.
Very explosive turn. Let's see how Matt gets out of this one. I mean, I've seen Matt beat up on Chane players before, but this start is a little too good. And there is that Merciful, which really good discipline by Matt to not play that last turn for that extra damage.
That's the only thing I thought he thought about doing during his turn. So.
And is that triple Shadow Puppetry out of Pete's hand? I don't know if that is a good or bad thing, but...
If you banish a bunch of Bounding Demigons, it could be.
Yeah.
Or an Unhallowed. Sure. So Matt just does the double aura move where he plays a yellow aura, then follows up with a blue 0-cost aura.
And we got to be honest with you. I don't know if Shawn and I know the names of those auras. I do believe that's the one that makes your first attack lose Phantasm.
Yeah, Haze Bending,
Haze
Pierce
Bending.
Reality, Shimmers of Silver, and I don't know what the other one is, but they're all really good in their own. There it is, a Bounding. So there's a Shadow Puppetry into a Flock, making a Quicken token, revealing a Shadow Puppetry. This could not be going better for Peter.
Yeah, very, very
So
powerful turn.
the Shadow Puppetry hand on Flock is disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. He pitched a Shadow Puppetry to play a Shadow Puppetry with a Flock, getting a Quicken token.
We do see a chat from, it looks like Grog said they're called Shimmer PS.
Yeah, Grogboxer there with the correct name of, that's another one of those auras that you do not want to leave on the battlefield. It furthers the steamrolling action Prism is able to perform.
Yeah, as a warrior player, I completely agree with you on there. I mean,
so there was a soul, it looked like he soul shielded into the Flock. So.
And we do see a shackle. Or it looked like he was shackling, and yep, there we go. We got a Rosetta Thorn coming in for 2 and 2. Let's see if Matt chooses to block this at all.
2-card hand.
Yep, it does look like that might be a Miraging Metamorph in Matt's hand, which would be a good one to set up on the next turn. Get some damage in. You have to start applying some amount of pressure unless you're fully committed to turtling up. And we do see a defending with the Iron Hide Gauntlets.
Iron Hide Gauntlets, yeah. Iron Rot is the 1 block.
Yeah.
And Iron Hide is the pay a resource, make it a 2 block.
Yeah. Both of which see some amount of play.
Yes, they do, yeah. Depending on who you are.
I believe Dash plays the Iron Rot stuff.
Yeah. They are good. Having armor cards is definitely it's like having extra cards in your hand if you can save them for late.
There's a reason why these crew equipment with Temper and Arcanite Skullcap see so much play because, blocking for 3.
It's pretty good, yep.
Pretty good.
So Pete was able to play out his entire hand. He put 2 Shadow Puppetry back on the bottom.
And I think Matt's turn is going to be that Miraging Metamorph.
Yeah, Tunic into Miraging Metamorph for 7. And if Peter pomps it, he will just make another...
Merciful Retribution,
yes.
most likely.
Yes. So
Although
Peter's-
depending on which of the auras that is, I think that might be haze bending. I don't think that actually had Phantasm. I believe.
Oh,
I believe
loses
it
Phantasm?
it,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. That's true.
Again,
It's hard to see the glare even here, so
I'm gonna.
you gonna pull up
check
the
that
art?
out real quick. Yes, definitely.
So here comes Soul Shackle 5 from Peter.
It was not haze bending. What was the other one?
Pierce Reality and it's not Pierce Reality.
Is that
Passing Mirage. Passing Mirage is the name of the card. I'm almost certain of it now. That is the one that probably loses Phantasm first attack.
I do see that. Yeah, you are correct.
I mean, there's only so many. Again, these zero-cost auras for Prism just made the deck even more bonkers.
Yeah, well, look at that. Look at that shackle turn right there for Pete. We got one Riftbind.
One Riftbind, yep.
So-
But he's Shadow of Ursa, banish the Ghostly Visit to give the Shadow of Ursa go again, which would allow him to shackle and then play the Ghostly for 4. Pete is shackling. We are going to see the Ghostly for 4 go again. Pete has 1 resource floating. There's another Soul Shield from Gideon. That looks like another Swarming Gloomville.
It is a Gloomveil. The shackle was made this turn because
Yep.
he was on 5 at the beginning, so I could see a block on the Gloomveil, maybe using that Phantasmal Footsteps, knowing that this
Will
other
not-
thorn is
yep.
going to come in.
Yep.
But we shall see. Matt with 2 cards in his hand. I'm not too sure if
So he's going to take
elect
the
to take
Gloomville.
it.
So that should put him at 8 life. He could play the... He can't play the Riftbind because it doesn't gain a bonus right now, so he will probably just be eating that. So
Looks like he's at 7 life. Maybe he took an Arcane somewhere.
somewhere, yeah, I don't know
I'm not too sure where
what's
that
going
came
on.
from.
And here's Rosetta for 2 and 2,
Yeah.
which is yeah.
Yeah, horrible spot to be in if you're on the Prism side of things.
yeah.
There's been
If he's at 3 life after the end of this, maybe
especially with how the pressure's going.
correct. It might be 5. I don't know if there was a non-attack played there. He's going to make a Spectral token.
Get him for 3, and then Arsenal and pass. So this is the turn, if there's any, to have an Arclight Sentinel.
Correct.
And let's see. I see a Genesis. I see a Shimmer, the one that puts the counter on things. Maybe a Merciful. I don't see an Arclight Sentinel so far.
So it looks like Pete has another Shadow of Ursa and another Riftbind in hand.
Here we go. We got
Maybe a
chat.
Mauvrin Skies. There comes the Mauvrin Skies.
We got a chat from I'm not even going to try pronouncing that. We'll just say K-Gas.
Yeah,
K-Gas.
K-Gal. Yeah, whatever your name is. Let's go Peter is what she says.
Yeah, let's see it.
So Peter starts with the Riftbind from Banish, so it's going to get a +1. It has go again, and if it hits, it will make a rune chant.
And again, everybody, thank you for all the follows. Really appreciate it. Oh, I think that's Caleb right there.
Oh, okay. Caleb there.
But yeah, thank you for all the follows and everything, everybody. It's makes doing these streams worthwhile, and happy we were able to bring you this today. Arc editor, I believe that's Hornberg. So welcome to the stream, Hornberg.
So Pete is on 7 Soul Shackles, and he's coming in with a Ghostly. He's just putting an insane amount of pressure.
And another Soul Shield.
Matt has had them when he needed them most.
Definitely.
And Rosetta for 2 and 2.
Rosetta for 2 and 2. Pete is running out of options in his library right now. I mean, I want to
Yeah.
see. Oh, it's Cassie.
Nice.
How's it going, Cassie? Do you play Flesh and Blood, Cassie? I'm not too sure if I ever seen you playing
So
or talking about
Prism is at 2. Pete is definitely running into Soul Shackle 7. He just drew Revel in Runeblood. I think we might have seen the end of this turn. Yep, there's definitely a Revel in Runeblood Captain's Call, so we can lead with a Captain's Call. I don't know what's in his arsenal.
I do believe that is a Miraging Metamorph. So again,
Husk.
not great. He's trying to apply pressure, not to, but then commit. Yeah, makes sense. I try to play everything as well. It's hard to manage, right?
Here is an awesome Soul Shackle turn for Peter. He's got a Howl from Beyond, a Riftbind, a Bounding. Oh man, he's got a lot there, but he should be able to play this out. He's got Captain's Call. I think that's a Mauvrin Skies as well. He might be able to do some ridiculous things here to force the cards out of Matt's hand, follow with Revel in Runeblood, and then Rosetta.
Yeah, with Matt at 2 life, it's I'm not too sure what gets him out of this right here.
No.
I have to see 20 steel blade shunts maybe.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Prism cannot run warrior cards, so Prism is
nor
definitely
draw a 20 card hand.
Yeah. And
AOS
steal
though,
40 cards.
Yeah, outside of AOS, I don't think he has anything that's going to get him there right now. And I was looking, it didn't look like he drew an AOS Grog.
So here comes the
Granted, a lot of glare.
Yeah, here comes the Howl from Beyond. Soul Shackle to 8.
Yeah, and you figure if he had that AOS, we would have seen it by now, right?
Yeah, especially on the in response to the Soul Shackle. Here comes Unhallowed Rites for 7. He's going to put a card on the bottom. It's going to be the Howl, which is just typical.
We'll see. Yeah,
So
looks like
Unhallowed for 7. Go again.
less than.
There's
like
9. Here's Captain's Call, Revel in Runeblood, and the game is over.
Wow.
Yep, that's That's
After
it.
what we saw last match.
Yeah, Pete looked like he had better soul shackles in this game. Gideon was not able to mount the pressure he was looking for.
Definitely.
And
When you're in that situation right there, there's basically one card you're drawing to, and if it's not in your hand, I don't think you're beating 8+ attack actions coming at you in one turn.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous, especially with the Mauvrin Skies Captain Call. He's able to play that Revel in Runeblood, finish up, even at the worst, he finishes up with Rosetta for 2 and 2. And when you're at 2 life and you have no cards in hand, the Arcane Barrier is going to kill you. It's a rough, again, we talk about...
And yeah, Grog, I completely agree. Even the double time snap banish plus pitching an early one.
Yeah, he pitched. Yeah, exactly.
He was not scared of AOS at all that game, and he fought through it. And Matt didn't have it when he needed it to. Again, huge congrats to Matt as well, though.
He did well. Again, when Chane is putting pressure, insane amounts of pressure in one turn, that's all that's needed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back when the final match. We will definitely be seeing Peter on Chane in the final. We will see him playing Starvo. We just don't know which pilot we will see.
Yeah, could possibly be Peter against Matt
Rogers,
which
correct.
would be an incredibly fun finals to cast.
Yes.
So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys in just a little bit.
Yep, thank you so much. We'll be back. Oh, Matt Rogers. What are you looking up?
Hello, everybody. I'm Shawn Adams, and
You gotta wait for the intro to come back.
it
It looks goofy if we don't. See? Look at this. The thing isn't even here. Alright, give us 1 second, guys. We're just waiting for this this to come back. Give us some feed from the feature match. But we can introduce the players real quick. So, it's our finals. We had the Darkside Games, Flesh and Blood Proquest. Classic constructed format. We have Peter Buddensiek, who's going to be playing Chane.
Yeah, and
versus a pretty well-known name.
pretty well-known name. Matt Rogers is going to be playing Bravo, star of the show, better known as Starvo or Captain Crunch, depending on what your preference is. Matt Rogers is probably the best New Zealand player.
Oh, definitely. I mean, one of the best 2 players in the world. It's really kind of him. He made the trek all the way here from New Zealand just to play in this Darkside Games ProQuest event. So shout out to Matt Rogers. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you support the store. And yeah, really looking forward to this finals. I mean, Starvo versus Chane. It was, I expected some Prism in the finals, but
Prism lost in the top 8. Peter beat or in the top 4.
Yeah.
And there was plenty of Prism today. There was a lot of Prism players. I think, as we discussed earlier outside the booth, Ryan, that the Prism players matched up against each other. A lot of mirrors. They knock each other out. A lot of Runeblade versus Prisms that
Definitely.
also weren't in the favor of the Prism matchups.
Yeah, a lot of players came here geared to beat Prism, so it makes sense that we only saw one in the top 8. I know, again, Matt, the one that was in our top 8, not Matt Rogers, Matt Gideon, was very well versed in that list, and he was able to fight through a field of people trying to hate him out. But it's down to our finalists.
Yeah, and I before we get to the finalists, I'd like to talk, when you talk about metas, how they evolve. So we saw Starvo in week 1, and then in week 2 we had more Prism success because people were teching the Prism to prey on the Starvos. And then here we are in week 3, and it seems like Runeblade was tech to beat the Prisms. Now Starvo is still here in the final because the Boogeyman did not go away. It just, when people are beating his bad matchups.
Yeah, I do think the meta's gone full circle now. We have, Runeblade beats up on Prism. Prism beats up on Starvo.
And
Starvo beats up on
yeah, and
Runeblade.
that apparently, and that could be what we are in store to see here. I don't know. I've talked to Peter many times as we've tested this matchup. Personally, Peter thinks this is a pretty good matchup for Chane. I will quote Peter, "You live by the Soul Shackle, you die by the Soul Shackle," as we have seen in 2 of his games here on stream. Peter has had the best of luck against the Prism matchup, and he also had the very hairy Soul Shackles against the Dash player. Was able to pull out both matchups. One was a lot more comfortable than the other. But yeah, so let's why don't you break down what Pete's going through with the Chane list?
Yeah, so looking at Peter's Chane list, so it's actually very similar if anybody has seen the Tarek Patel Chane list that he had posted a few weeks back going into the season. It's a very similar list. I believe it's just maybe 1 or 2 cards off from what he was playing. I know there's like a Bounding Yellow. I don't know if there's a single copy of it.
There is a single copy of
list.
Bounding Yellow, yes.
But yeah, outside of that, very stock equipment lineup: Rosetta Thorn, Creepers, Grasp, Husk, Crown, Skullcap, which we'll probably be seeing Skullcap, Creepers, Grasp, Husk against Starvo today.
Yep.
But he was also playing, the Ether Ironweave, the Vexing Quill Hand, Norrune Robe, so very broad weapon equipment lineup here.
Yeah, I think Pete was better equipped to have not get caught off guard with a not proper equipment setup, and somebody shows up with Kano and you don't have enough Null Rune. Peter's a pretty smart player, pretty well versed on Chane. So
one of the luxuries you get as well playing Chane is that you most of your main deck you're registering anyway.
Yes.
A lot of the cards that you bring in for sideboard are just noise outside of things like Time Snap Potion that are very integral for certain matchups. So you can afford to play more of these equipment in your sideboard because you have a very critical mass of cards that you play in the main.
Yeah, and so let's go to Matt Rogers is on Starvo, as people call him. And it definitely looks like what you've been seeing the last few weeks. They are running this single yellow Pulsive Candlehold. There is some interesting new stuff that's come with the Starvo, is that Turn Timber has now shown up in lists. The red Turn Timber is a defense react. It costs 2. It blocks for 6, but it has Earth Fusion, so if you fuse with an Earth card, it gets an additional +2, so it will block for a total of 8, which is key in these mirrors. So having some Staunch responses and some Turn Timbers gives you the ability to cover up in the Starvo mirror. You definitely see the 3 Blizzard, which is good in certain matchups. As far as his equipment selection goes, you've got Winter's Wail, just an amazing weapon. Pair it with either Rampart of the Ram's Head or Stalagmite, which is also a new card from Everfest that seems to be amazing. Then he has Crater Fist, Crown of Seeds, Findale Spring Tonic, Ironhide Legs, and Null Rune Boots, and Time Skippers. I think Time Skippers is only for the Prism matchup.
I believe it is. Can we actually take a second real quick to talk about Crown of Seeds?
Oh, yes.
Because if there is one card that this Starvo deck has used to go over the top, it is definitely that really, really insane Earth equipment.
The damage prevention and the hand filtering is ridiculous. When you're looking to reveal 3 different elements a turn, or 2 with one of those being a pulse, because Starvo does run all 3 pulses, being able to mitigate 1 damage and draw a card which could complete, or sometimes you're just trying to get the attack. Maybe the red Autumn's Touch. They are running these red Earth cards to give them the 7 attacks, but they turn into 9 Dominate Go-Agains with the Starvo ability.
Potentially 11s depending on pulses.
Yeah, depending on pulses. Yeah, and Crown of Seeds just is really the engine behind matching these up. And
one big thing as well with Crown of Seeds is that, people play Arcanite Skullcap for a reason. It blocks for 3,
Yes.
right? That's relevant. Carrion Husk blocks for 6.
yes.
Crown of Seeds throughout the course of the game blocks for 10 plus most of the
Yes,
time,
yeah.
alongside, Blanking Arcane.
Correct.
It's incredible card, and it's been, Matt, I mean, if you guys would have saw that semifinals match that, took about almost an hour long,
Yes.
you would have seen some Crown of Seeds action every single turn, both players activating it. And
Yes, and the Starvo mirror was amazing to watch. The
Incredibly
ending,
well played by both sides.
yeah, incredibly well played. I believe the guy that didn't lost to Matt just now. His staunch response was 1 card away. So you're talking about Crown digging. Other decks do not have the ability to dig through their deck to find the cards they need.
with
Crown
the
of Seeds-
exception of Chane.
Well, with the exception of Chane. Chane the Soul Shackle resource is a ridiculous. You're talking about 4-card hand plus late game, potentially an extra 3 or 4 cards. It is in line with that extra resource, which Crown does provide. I do think that if we're talking about cards, Crown of Seeds might be on the watch list. Because it is ridiculous.
That card is very good. I mean, it's definitely at the epicenter of what's making Starvo, so well positioned at the moment.
Yeah, and it makes them more consistent, especially because if you're running Ram's Head, you Crown of Seeds, and then you pitch a blue Crown of Seeds, prevent 1 damage, then pay for Rampart's Head, and you're still in the declare
and you
block
still have
phase. You
one-
can decide if you even want to add another, or if hey, look, I just hit my Starvo ability.
Ironhide as well.
Yeah, Ironhide, yes, the one-time 2-block, which we just saw at the very end, Matt Rogers' game, where he crowned Rampart and Ironhide to full block, and then Starvo ability right back for the victory. So Crown of Seeds is ridiculous. This is going to be an interesting matchup because both players are playing, lists that are, I don't want to say solved, but lists are very well tuned, very finely tuned.
We got Matt on the boogeyman of the format, and then we got Pete on the ex-boogeyman.
Ex-boogeyman, yes.
It's nice to see how this one will play
Anyone
out.
that's a veteran of Flesh and Blood will have known Chane to have just run over other matchups when you are, or the Monarch days, when you thought you had a game plan and Chane just was presenting 25, 30, 33 in consecutive turns. Double Art of War turns and just doing ridiculous things. And then, like you said in a previous match, the Seeds of Agony card that was banned just made that deck even more consistency. Although I do remember quite a few people trying to ban Seeds of Agony with Art of War, which was funny to watch. Yeah, that cannot happen. But
it's nice to see where the format's gone. I think the bannings were definitely correct. I know there was a lot of turmoil because not many people were big fans of Runeblade as an archetype, and it's understandable. They're getting more love than the average person's fan favorite hero or class. So it's cool that they withstood the test of time. They're still powerful, and let's get this one started.
Yeah, I think we see the handshake. I do believe
Matt was the 1 seed and Pete was the 2 seed.
Yes.
So 2 players who absolutely dominated the Swiss in this event.
Yes, Pete lost to Matt in the final round. And then they both meet here again in the final. So this will be interesting. Matt Rogers will be on turn 1 because he is the higher seed. And he starts off with a Tunic Trigger, and it's time to, filter the hand out.
Yep.
This is what Starvo wants to do.
Let's see if we, maybe he'll be able to live the dream with that Starvo activation turn 1.
Yeah, maybe.
Into a Winter's Wail. Who knows? It looks like he's mathing out his first hand a little bit. Again, a deck that, lots of micro decisions.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of the decision tree, on this deck it's not so straightforward. He just decides to arsenal and draw up, which again will lead into a Crown of Seeds activation for further hand
also
filtering.
Very good to not let Chane, fix
Filter.
his hand.
Yeah. Chane fixing his hand is.
Yeah, because looking at Pete's hand, I see a pair of flocks right there. So he might not be able to make too many action points. Maybe that is I can't tell what the 4th card is, but I see a Bounding Demigon and 2 flocks.
Yes. So I think he's going to lead with the Bounding Demigon. I think that might be
a Skrill.
Skrill, yep.
Yeah.
So he's going to lead with the Bounding just for 3 because it's not played from Banish, but
With
3 go again. Yep. And Starvo probably guts the line because when they eat damage, that's what they want to do.
Yep.
So Pete makes a
Rune Chane. He's going to try getting in for 6 with that Quicken token, which is a good way to start, especially being able to arsenal that flock.
Yes, yes. Being able to lead with flock off of the Quicken token that the other flock made is a very strong play that Chane will look to do.
As we saw in the last match.
Yes, yes. A flock is a card that just has phenomenal value if your deck is built correctly, low to the ground with those costs, flock shines. People underestimate Quicken tokens. It's amazing how easy it is to just...
Turns out this Go Again keyword's kind of good.
Yeah. Go Again it's probably what the format will be centered around a long time. I do know that Blizzard is a good counteraction to Go Agains, but if you're a smart enough player, you play around it, or you just pitch to ignore the Blizzard and keep doing what you're going to do.
Yeah,
so.
Or if you have the luxury of playing Guardian, specifically Starvo, you have access to Spinal Crush.
Correct, yes.
You also have access to Blizzard. I mean, I don't know how many Starvo players are registering Blizzard. Does look like Matt has 3 copies in the deck today. So.
Yeah, but he is not running Spinal in this list. So
okay.
No shutting down the Go Again. I think
he is. He's playing 3 Spinals.
He is playing 3 Spinals. I'm sorry, I can't read.
All good.
I do know some players moved off of Spinal because they didn't like the thing, but I think the density of attacks because they went more with the red earths to flesh out the... What do you call it? The ratios with your elements to more consistently fuse. So we are seeing Matt make decisions here. He's facing this flock with 1 arcane and 5 damage. So Pete trying to get in for a total of 9 damage on turn 1. He's already got 3 through. He's got 6 waiting, and he's waiting to just gets it through.
He's going to get in. So Starvo
got 9 damage.
Going to put 31.
Yep. And so Pete will draw up his 4-card hand.
And this is definitely a game. Yep, there we go. We see that
Starvo
turn 2
ability.
Activation.
Crown of Seeds on his turn.
And let's see if he could hit something. And we see just a Winter's Grass. There's an Awakening.
Fused, so he's got 18. He can go get a Pulverize for a 16 Dominate Go Again.
Yes, he can. I mean, he can also get... Because Pulverize won't actually be reduced right now because he's playing the Awakening main phase. So he won't get the benefit of the tokens.
True.
I can imagine we'll be seeing an Oakenold turn.
True,
which is exactly what he's grabbing.
You're right, yeah. So, but the Seismic Surge tokens will carry on to next turn.
Mm-hmm. Which, any Pulverize off the top, even extra, Awakenings will make that a devastating follow-up, which even this one right now is, a little rough for the Chane player. We might see a Husk being cracked right now.
Yeah. It's an early Oakenold. Here's pitching. He's going to show the fuse. So it is 11 Dominate Go Again. If it hits... Two cards at random on the bottom of your deck, which is the disruption effects of this deck are just nonstop.
Yeah, and that is notably not a crush effect. It's just an on-hit.
It's just an on-hit, yeah. That's what makes Oakenold really... It's a 3-cost.
Yeah.
It's a really busted card.
It was funny. When I saw people playing that in Starvo, I had to go reread the card because I was like, I could have sworn this was an Oldhim specialization.
Yes, it is not. Endless Winter is the Oldhim specialization. Not nearly as good.
Same with Awakening.
Yes.
2 cards that... have definitely scream Oldhim specialization right there, but it is not, and I mean, it's also one of the epicenter pieces of this list.
Correct. So it looks like he hit Bounding, he blocked with Bounding, and then he lost Belittle and Minnowism, I think he had in his hand, both, or Shadow Puppetry and Belittle were the cards that Pete lost, so during his turn he's going to Soul Shackle.
Yep, which, not hitting on that shackle, not actually that bad.
So he's not shackling on this turn.
Bravo, pretty early on, has kind of cemented itself as the aggressor in this matchup. So we'll see.
So he has a free attack that costs 18 or less.
Yeah, I could definitely see a turn, where that Carrion Husk is cracked to try to make, the aggression or the aggressive side switch over to Pete's favor. But it's going to be rough with, how much pressure is being presented from Matt.
True. I do not think Matt has a Guardian attack in hand, so...
Let's see, there's an Icequake.
Icequake, 1 resource floating.
And
there is Spinal. He did have a Guardian attack.
So a card that almost certainly will have to demand the use of that Husk unless, Pete wants to get rid of a lot of cards in
10
hand.
damage, 10 damage, and a Frostbite token.
Mm-hmm. I suppose if he could block 7, you know, he can avoid
He can avoid, yes.
the
So he's gonna
impending
put
doom of that crush effect.
putting
but
Skullcap in for a 2 block
There you go.
and 2 cards.
looks like an 8,
Yeah, looks like.
possibly. I can't tell what that second card
So he
is.
took three
Took
cards.
3,
So he
okay.
takes the Frostbite.
So
He
it looks like it was
avoids
a
the
7.
he avoids the crush effect. Proper use of Skullcap there. He was at less life by 1.
There you go. We got another flock off of that Soul Shackle. So not really too great, although we do see a pretty powerful card in Pete's hand in that.
Flock
in
with
that
the Quicken token, making a
Revel in
Quicken
Red
token.
Blood.
Yeah. So 5 with an action point. With 5 go again, and he makes a Quicken token.
Yeah. So you know, pretty decent recovery turn for Pete, and I mean, notably he still has his husk, so he's not been intimidated by these early attacks from these Spinal Crushes and
True.
Organolds.
And if Pete would like here, so Crown during Matt's or Pete's turn, so Matt is back to a 4-card hand. He has 1 damage prevention, so he's looking at 4 more coming through. He's going to block with the shield.
Take 3, or was that 2? It might be
Oh,
a
I think
blue
Pete might be
flock.
playing a blue flock, yeah. And then he just swings with Rosetta.
Yep. So
And it looks like
Rosetta's just-
Pete shackled.
Yep.
And then he could block with, if he wants to pitch another card, he could block with the shield, yeah. Take 1. So he did not want to pitch to make it a 2. He just gets to, because the Soul Shackle closes the chain,
Yep.
the shield goes back, and then he's able to block for a second time.
Yep. For 1 more.
For
this
1
time
more,
around.
yeah.
Very powerful shield again. Another reason why, you know, the Starvo deck has been so hot out of the gates is the intense card pool that it has, alongside, you know, just being in Guardian, which already has a very good card pool, is quite powerful.
So now we're seeing a Tunic activation with a double pitch for Crippling Crush.
Yep, so we're coming in for 11 right now. On Crush effect, you have discard 2 random cards. Pretty
Yeah,
powerful.
it's a pretty powerful effect, yeah.
Again, we not too sure when we're going to see that Carrion Husk be used. We do see the Grasp as well has not been touched, so
Correct. And we do know that if he ate 11 here, looks like he's going to 3 block it.
well, notably that Husk and that Grasp alone can block a future Crippling Crush.
Correct, yeah.
not
And it's
get
good
crushed.
to save that until it's absolutely necessary. Yes, that does give you an 8 block. It will not stop a Starvo ability Cripple Crush, however.
But then you could just use a card from
one
hand.
card
yeah.
hand, yes. That's literally what it would require. That's what makes Husk really good in this matchup. So, Rune Chant. And
we're just gonna see.
So it looks like he banished a Swarming Gloomveil and some other card.
Yeah.
No Soul Shackles, no Blood Deck cards there.
No Blood Deck cards yet, I believe.
So
It's,
Pete has a Rune Chant, 4-card hand. I believe he has a Revel and Rune Blood in Arsenal. And Rogers is not Starvo ability. He's filtering these red attacks. He's going to go with
Spinal Crush.
Spinal Crush again.
Pete's hand, it looks like 2 Shadow Puppetries, a Vexing Malice, and a Ghostly Visit, so a decent one. I mean, that is should be a blue Vexing Malice, so he's got a blue pitch, he's got the Revel and Rune Blood right
Yep.
there. This might be the turn. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record saying this might be the turn where we see that Husk and that Grasp, because
So Pete is checking the graveyard. We've seen 1 Crippling Crush, 1 Oakenold, and 2 Spinals now, which, as far as threats go, means there is only 1 Spinal and 2 Crippling and 2 Oakenolds left. So he's looking at 5 more really brutal attacks. The Starvo does run these red Earth attacks, Autumn's Touch, Break Ground,
Yeah, attacks for
and
7.
2 Evergreens. Yeah, so they do have a density of 7 attacks that do just reveal as
Yeah.
the Earth card and then come in for a +2 Dominate Go again.
definitely, yeah, no resources required on that Starvo activation.
Yeah, and it avoids the Frostbite token because it is a triggered ability.
Yep.
So he does use Husk, and he
We
takes.
see that there, take 3.
Yep. So Pete has now used the Husk. He's now on the Blood Deck clock of 1 damage a turn, but he kept his 4-card hand.
Another miss.
Another whiff
the
on
Soul
3,
Shackle.
yeah. Pete having to make do with. So he's going to start with Shadow Puppetry. He's going to pitch, and he's going to play Ghostly Visit for 5, go again with 1 Rune Chant.
Yep. And if that Ghostly Visit does connect, he does get to look at the top card of his deck. and
Perhaps banish
it
a
from his
Blood Deck card, maybe give him some more action.
Yeah.
So we got a Crown of Seeds during Pete's turn, which is going to mitigate the Rune Chant damage. And now Matt gets to decide if he even wants to take damage or can he Starvo and come in, which
And
is
I
the
see-
interesting.
I can't tell too much because of Matt's, like the glare on Matt's cards, but it does look like he has a lot of Autumn's touches in his hand. It looks like he's blocking with one. He has at least one behind. I think I might have saw another one. So
So Pete is now soul shackling. Yeah, there's that's true. He's got some. So what do we got? We got Revel and Runeblood, and then 2 and 6.
there we
two,
go. That's the
2,
classic
2 and 4.
2,
Yeah.
2, 4 right there off the Rosetta and the Revel. Again, I mean a good play, you know, to help apply that pressure. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
and Matt is running null rune boots, so because they're individual rune chants, he can perhaps pitch a blue and mitigate 3 of that. But the Rosetta damage, yep. So we're seeing 2 damage go away, and he'll take 4 damage. So Pete is doing a good job of keeping the life totals close because the awakening is what makes Starvo dangerous. You can't get too far ahead; they awaken
and
you.
grab a pulverize.
Yeah, and then it's just pivot turn.
Yeah, so this is the turn that Pete wants to see. Actually, is just an attack from Winter's Will.
Yeah, that's what he wants right here. So he took 1 from his blood debt at the end of his turn, and he's literally just facing a 4 with a frostbite token. He's gonna look at what he's got in his graveyard, what is his banish.
Yeah.
He's gonna decide.
I do believe that Shackle is on 5, right? Because he was on 4 last turn and missed. I'm pretty.
I believe so. Yes.
So yeah, he could just take that and fight through it, and you know he keeps his equipment behind. Again, the Spellbound Creepers. That's a card that creeps up on you.
Yes.
You know, no
yes.
pun intended. Very, very strong.
So
card.
here we go. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's on Soul
okay, so
Shackle
it's 4.
4.
Still
So-
good though. 50,
yeah,
50%.
50%. Yeah, he's got a Riftbind and a Ghostly Visit that he can play.
I
It
do
does
see
look-
a Storming Gloomveil in hand, and a pair of Belittles. So
yeah,
you could actually see a pretty explosive turn right here from Pete.
Yeah, this is what Pete will need. Again, with that 9-point life lead, Matt Rogers can not only soak up damage, but Pete pressuring too much if he's holding an Awakening is hard to see. But I do see an Oaken Old in hand. So Pete's going to start with the Shadow Puppetry.
Break that
Pate-
frostbite token.
Yeah, he's going to play Ghostly Visit.
So that is going to be coming in for, what is that, 5 or
5 go again. So Crown of Seeds, he pitched away the Oaken Old.
Yep. Again, that's that Crown of Seeds, man.
The
that
Crown
card
of
is,
Seeds, yeah. Just allows Oaken Old to be in the late game. So
There we go. That is a block 5 right there. Paying
with a
for
Crippling Crush block.
Yeah. There we
Belittle.
go. That
There's
is,
the
that is what we
Belittle,
wanna
showing
see.
Belittle. He's going to go get that Minnowism. There it is. That's probably the blue Minnowism.
Yep, and he also has a Gloomveil that I believe he can reveal to the... Is Belittle attack or cost?
And it's a Belittle. Belittle is attack 3 or less, yes.
Okay.
Flock is cost 1 or less.
Gotcha.
Belittle is attack 3 or less.
Yeah, definitely. So a really strong turn right here. A lot of damage sources spread out among multiple cards, which is
Correct.
where you want to be against a deck that plays a bunch of block 3s. And
Yes. Yeah, because if you can weather down Starvo's ability and force them to be only holding 2 block cards, they get into a very dangerous territory where their blocks are inefficient against the damage output of Chane.
Definitely. Oh, that might be a Ghostly Visit actually instead of a Gloomveil. A little worse, but we still have the Soul Shackle to work with. We still have a Rosetta Thorn, which is live at the moment after
Yep.
that Shadow Puppetry.
Yep. Soul Shackle
Man, on
closes
the-
the chain.
On the topic of Runeblade cards that are, you know, incredibly powerful, what do we think of Rosetta Thorn?
That card is amazing. It's the best weapon printed in a long time.
It might be the best weapon in the game. I mean, I know that a lot of
The finisher ability of the 2 and 2 is just ridiculous. So he's going to stop and he blocks. So he stops the Arcane with this floating resource, pitches the shield to block. Matt Rogers takes 2.
yeah, again,
There comes Rosetta for 2 and 2.
that
Another 4.
Rampart showing
Yeah,
why
showing.
it's so good.
Yeah, especially when Pete has to Soul Shackle in his turn. It allows Rampart to go back. The combat chain is broken, and then he's allowed to reblock with it. And it already has a 1 defense value. You could even pump it up to 2 if need be.
Yeah, but notably, look at this turn from Matt. He's just going to Arsenal and pass.
Yeah, he
That
ticks
is-
up Tunic, and then Arsenal pass. Pete is on Soul Shackle. There goes.
Oh, we got one hit
5.
there, but not bad. I mean,
Soul
going
Reaping went away.
4-card hand with a card in Arsenal. I mean,
Yep, and is that on Unhallowed Rights?
starting this turn with 6 cards. Yeah, Unhallowed Rights was the hit right there, and then I believe he Arsenaled a Belittle. Yeah. Oh, that's a really
That's
good one.
really good. He has Garganian Tome in hand as well.
Definitely.
So, yep, Garganian Tome turns on Unhallowed Rights. He just drew Revel and
Revel.
Rillblood. Oh, wow. Pete could have some explosion here.
Yeah.
This could be good. He's going to pitch the Shadow of Ursher.
Thank you for the follow, Hero. Really appreciate it.
Here comes Belittle.
There you go. Reveal.
There's the reveal. Pete got ahead of himself there. Got to reveal his shrills. So Pete's now got, I think that is a blue minnowism there. It might, yeah, blue minnowism. He wants to probably save the reds for the late game power. So we have
Definitely,
three.
but I mean,
we have 3 go again.
and he still has 4 cards in his hand.
Still has 4 cards in his hand. Can still soul shackle this turn. Still has unhallowed. He can literally soul shackle and then play unhallowed, and he still has 4-card hand because he has 2 resources floating. Yeah,
with,
he
with
has.
many action points.
And another Belittle in hand. So there could be a Belittle Minnowism red coming soon.
And this is a good place to be right now. I mean, unless you're breaking the combat chain, which I don't think he's going to be doing too often.
Yeah.
It's really good to be going in, for a bunch of 2s and 3s.
Yes, yeah. Makes that blocking with the cards in hand very inefficient when you're not facing damage. So it looks like Matt is thinking about, yes, he's going to use Crown. He's going to Crown of Seeds with the Tunic resource, which gives him a 5-card hand. It looks like he just drew a Channel Lake Frigid.
Yeah,
which
but
is,
I mean, I can't imagine at this point next turn he doesn't have the Starvo ability set up.
correct, yeah.
It just comes down to how much pressure Pete can apply to make sure that, Matt doesn't want to do that.
Yes. And now, notably, now that Shield is on the combat chain, Pete can keep pressure with the Belittle
Yeah.
and prevent himself from breaking the combat chain. Or he might see something we do not. That Garganian Tome was really good. So he's going to make a Rune Chant, close the chain. He wants to force that Rune Blade, the Rune Chant. Here comes Revel and Rune Blood. Yep, now he's got 5.
And then are we going to see a Shackle right here?
I think we're going to see Shackle into Unhallowed.
Yeah.
He could Shackle into Unhallowed and still come in with Belittle, which is just, he's going to pitch the Minnowism, blue. Oh, maybe not. He's going to Shackle first,
There you
pitch Minnowism. So he's got,
And yeah, there's that Unhallowed.
he's got Unhallowed for 4,
With 5 Arcane coming.
5 Arcane coming, and 4 putting the Howl from Beyond back on the bottom of the deck.
Wow, that is a... And he's not even, halfway done with his turn yet.
No,
It
he
looks
still
like
has plenty.
2 or 3 more cards in his hand that he's able to play alongside that Rosetta Thorn activation. This could be threatening a lot of damage.
Take 2 more. Now, Starvo is now at 13. Pete still has plenty of cards in his hand. He can lead with Belittle and reveal the Shrill of Skullhorn again to go get another Minnowism. Oh, he's just going to do Shrill of Skullhorn. So he's going to save the Belittle for next turn. So he's coming in for 5 because he made an aura.
Yeah.
Actually made quite a few auras in that turn, but it only needs 1. So there's another 5. Starvo going down to 8, which means Matt Rogers definitely has Starvo ability online. He would not keep the cards in his hand unless he can crack back. Pete takes 1 Blood Debt from the Husk. Here comes the Starvo ability.
It just comes down to what he's going to be attacking with, and
It's a Spinal. That's rough on Soul Shackle 6.
That is a rough one.
And
so Pete being up on life, his skull cap's turned off. He has a 2 in the grasp. There is no way he's blocking this one without getting crushed.
correct, yeah, 2 on Grasp, and probably, yeah, he's getting crushed here because he'd have to Spellbound Creepers and well, he's got 4 armor.
We do see, so he does have, he has 3 armor, right? His Arcanite skull cap is turned off at the moment.
Oh, correct. I am incorrect.
We
Yes,
do
so-
see 3 armor, but we also see an Art of War in hand. Is this maybe that
We
time
see-
we see
we
that
see-
secret mode come out
Yes,
of Art of
secret
War?
mode block with
I could
attack
definitely see
reactions.
a banish an attack reaction, draw 2, block with attack reactions from Arsenal, block with that Minnowism, block with a card in hand, and that does that get him there? That should put him above 6.
Well, it's 11 because it was a Starvo ability. So it's
Oh,
11
gotcha.
dominate, go again.
So that'd be 3, and he's just gonna take.
Just trying to survive. 7 to 8. So no go again for Peter.
Yeah, and I mean this is probably the turn where you don't want to hit off those soul shackles. All right, that's
So
not,
he's only
not
got
awful.
2. So he's going to be without go again. He could play one of those cards out and take 2 Blood Debt. He does have an Art of War. He cannot get go again, so he could just push damage if he'd like. The Belittle, yep, here comes.
Yeah, it's a ghostly. I think Ghostly Visit's correct there. Saves you some points of blood debt.
It's a 4 attack.
Very likely going to see a Crown of Seeds activation here and just a block.
Yes, yeah. Crown and a block. I can't tell what Matt has. It looks like Matt might have drawn into Pulverize, which is ideally what he would want to pitch for the Crown to put it back in the deck for an Awakening. The Awakening gets weaker as the life totals go lower, so it definitely gets harder to pull the big hit off with Pulverize because unless Matt went to 2 life here, the Awakening cannot go get the Pulverize. But what's interesting here is that he can Crown Pulverize back into the deck.
Well,
take 4 and Awakening.
Yeah, I don't even think the Pulverize is a priority right now, right? I think that if Matt can just Crown it back.
Well, he has no more Spinals. He's used all 3 Spinals, I believe.
Yeah, but I do believe that Matt's just going to try getting there now off of the Starvo activations.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep.
This is about that point in the game where, Chane is somewhat on its last
It does
leg.
look like I think that is an Awakening in hand. That could be dangerous. He could eat some damage and Awakening in response and still have Starvo ability. Oh, he's looking through his graveyard. He's trying to figure out what threats are left in his attacks, what he can look for. He knows what he's got. Don't know if that's Awakening now. The shiny Matt Rogers, Matt Gideon lists make it hard to tell what's in their hand when the reflection hits the sleeves.
Yeah, something about mats and shiny cards.
Yeah, mats and shiny cards, yes.
Common theme here.
This mat has much more shinier cards than the previous mat, but nonetheless.
I don't think so.
No, I'm just talking about the cold foil graded versions of the cards.
Oh, yeah.
Notably
the tunic is actually a rainbow foil.
Oh, okay. That's why he probably doesn't want to bust out a cold foil tunic with the value of the card. Those cases are pretty good at protecting cards, but people tend to
not want to take their cold foils out of their house.
Yeah.
Which is completely understandable.
I do know that Pete has a graded Mask of Momentum, so cold foil mask. So
very, very beautiful card. I believe he traded his the final spring tunic he won from the
his
Utah
gold foil. Yep, that's right.
But yeah, very close game here nonetheless. He's going to take some damage there.
All right, we are 7-6.
Go to 2. Are we going to see a Stardo activation into an attack action? I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's many attack actions that are going to be, not devastating right now.
He has it looks like Awakening in hand. I don't know what Rogers is looking for. He's pitching.
And that is
There's
Pulverize.
a Pulverize. 14 damage.
And as crazy as it sounds, we might see Pete take a massive chunk of this.
Yes.
Yeah, so we do see some blood debt that was missed. So,
so it's 5.
We got that corrected.
It's 6-5, which means Pete has to block 10 of this damage. So he does, now his skull cap is online, so he does have a 4 armor value.
He does have 4 in his armor.
And he's trying to figure out his resources to be able to crack back. I do see an Art of War in hand.
I do believe he might have an Art of War in arsenal as well.
A double Art of War turn is something that Chane would love to do.
Definitely. I mean, Matt Rogers is doing his absolute best to prevent that from happening right now.
Yes. So we see
Art of War plus 1.
Blocking from back.
And oh man, Pete gonna have to put basically everything he has in front of this Pulverize right now. So they all get the bonus from that Art of War.
It takes 2. Pete will notably go to 1 here off. If he hits any more blood debt cards, the game is over. Yep, there it is over because he will take blood debt and lose the game. Matt Rogers is going to be your victor. That Pulverize turn is the worst. Gloomville, double Shadowversary. He already had 2 blood debt in things, so that's 4. Yeah, he's going to die by 1. He can literally play and then die.
Yeah, very, very close game. I mean, he can
He can soul
Yeah,
shackle
so I
and
do
play.
believe they're not done yet. They're gonna still play because he could shackle Shadow,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go
So
to
we go
one.
to 1. Yeah.
Which Matt Rogers, great guy. He's trying to play some Flesh and Blood right now. He almost took that concession, and then they're back.
Yes.
So
So yep.
if we can see Pete take this one down, it'll be a pretty cool one.
Pete's at 1 life. Draws a 4-card hand. Starvo ability. Pitching for the Red Autumn's Touch. It's a 9 dominate.
All right.
I think that's the dominate effect here is brutal.
Yeah, I do believe it is over now. But again,
He does have 3 block in armor, but I don't think you can get there.
He has pitch Art of War. Banish draw 2. The only thing is he
Now
can
he's
block exactly 7 of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and still take 2. Well, that is the game. The Starvo ability wins out in the end. That pulverized turn, forcing Pete to block with his entire hand, and then taking 2 blood debt.
Yep.
He was able, like you said, to play out the double Shadow Aversers, but the Pete was not able to get there. It was a very close game, 4-1. The pulverize not there. Pete might have a better chance at pressuring there, especially knowing that, he was at 6. He took the 2.
Definitely. I mean, well played by both sides, but man, massive congrats to Matt Rogers.
Matt Rogers,
8-0 run today, didn't drop a game.
Yeah, didn't lose a single game. Went undefeated in Swiss, and then all the way into the final, he will get the gold foil. And the mats you're seeing that playing on, both players will get the mats. I do want to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in.
Yeah, we really appreciated having you guys today, and who knows, we might be back in a few minutes if you guys want to stay tuned. Probably do a winner's interview.
Yeah, again, yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
We'll be back in just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. All right, welcome back, everybody. So I am here. I am joined by our winner, Matt Rogers.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
How's it going?
Yeah, so really dominant performance today. Didn't drop a game.
Yeah. Today definitely went well.
Yeah, so what put you on Starvo as opposed to, Prism or Chane or any of these, villains in the format?
Yeah, I was thinking between a few things. Mostly I've been testing quite a bit of Dash, and really struggling against Starvo.
Got to stay on brand, right?
Yeah, so to be honest, I just thought Dash might be in a really good spot because it can play a lot of defense reactions for Starvo, and then it's very good against Prism, and it has a lot of blues for Visceri. So I thought it might be in a good spot, but it really just didn't beat Starvo. So I basically tested a bunch of things against Starvo and kept losing with everything. So I eventually just said, oh, whatever, I'll just play Starvo.
100%. So looking at your list, just a couple questions about card choice. So I do see, obviously, you're playing the generic equipment lineup. You are playing both shields. What matchups do you prefer certain shields in? I'd imagine the aggressive matchups. The hyper-aggressive Briar-style decks, you like Stalagmite, correct?
Well, Briar particularly, I still play the Rampart. Just because in that matchup, I'm already pitching to prevent Rune Chant damage, so I've got extra resources, so I might as well kind of play that, and the breakpoints are pretty good on it as well, and just how they come in. But yeah, decks like Lexi, for example, sort of go wide decks. I quite like the Stalagmite for, but yeah, most matchups I play Rampart.
Definitely. We got Peter waving in here from outside. Again, congratulations to Peter as well. Well played today. His only losses were to this gentleman right here, so shout outs to him too. But yeah, another card that really caught my eye looking at your list was the Turn Timber in the defense reaction spot.
Yeah. So Turn Timber's for the mirror, for the most part. It's for the other Starvo decks. And yeah, it's like I'm playing two. It's not amazing, but it's just kind of like your next staunches, I guess.
Especially in the mirror.
It can
right?
It can really help if they get a little bit greedy in the mirror and they go big. Then you really need that to kind of save yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I watched your both your finals match, and your semifinals match, which that was a match.
Oh yeah, my semis was such a cool game. That was probably one of my favorite games I've played.
Yeah, I watched that entire match, and even I was trying to follow along, but it was crown activations every turn.
Yeah,
it was playing the defense.
It was well over an hour as well. It was a long grindy match. It was good fun.
Definitely. And then just quick final question. What do you think moving forward? You think Starvo's still the deck to beat? You think there's going to be any adjustments?
I think Starvo's definitely the deck to beat. I think Starvo's going to do quite well at the core lane. I think it's going to do quite well at the rest of the Proquest, and hopefully it's going to do well enough to get 1,000 points and be Living Legend before the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
That's kind of my hope.
We'll see. Well, again, Matt, awesome performance, and congratulations.
Awesome.
Hope you get a good gold foil, assuming you open it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might keep it sealed for a while.
I'm giving it to a friend to open on his stream. So
awesome.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
Again, thank you guys, everybody, for stopping by, and congratulations.
Cool. Thank you so much. Cheers.
All right, guys. I'll get Pete in the booth real quick too. Come on in, Pete.
Gotta get the deck list. Pete, quick little interview.
Oh God.
The man, the myth, the legend, everybody. Pete. I know he's the one you guys all came to see, not
Matt
the best player in the world.
Definitely not Matt Rogers.
All right, just a quick question. A couple questions for you. Chane.
Yes.
Why?
I feel like he has a good Starvo matchup. Obviously.
When you're not playing against Matt Rogers.
Obviously not playing against Matt Rogers. Through testing the deck, I feel like I listened to a lot about what Tariq had to say about it. I think it's like a 55-45 matchup in Chane's favor. Both versions. I think the Kale McCreath version of more trying to fatigue you out as Chane, and then even the normal versions and stuff like that, I still think you're favored in both. I think it gets a little bit closer when you really know the matchup a lot. It really comes down to you taking a hit really early and then husking the second threat, and presenting enough damage in the mid game to kind of combat it. Because your mid game is a little bit better, but they're obviously explosive power with the Oakenolds, the Spinal Crushes with Starvo's abilities, just a lot to come after.
Definitely. And I was really impressed by the patience that you had in both the
Yeah.
semis, or the quarters and the finals with that carrion husk, because you in the finals you took a couple massive hits before you finally said, let me throw this under the bus. And
Yeah.
the good thing about husk is it single-handedly blanks a spinal crush if it's not buffed.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely think Carrion Husk is such a great equipment. That is it's one of the big things as to why playing Chane over something like a Viscerai right now. I do think Viscerai has a higher damage output than you, but you have so much utility through the Husk to play in a lot of other matchups and stuff like that. I think the big thing I want to play as Chane as well is I think the Prism matchup, as you probably watched in the semifinals, the Prism matchup is so good. It's just it's not a buy. Obviously, you have to play really tight, but you present so much more damage than the Prism wants to take at every single point of the game. And if you don't get double aura multiple turns in a row, you just win the game very fast. As you can see, I really didn't. I think I blocked twice versus the Prism, and it just just attacked with my hand every single turn. And,
Definitely. Yeah, really insane run though today. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Final question.
Yes.
What's this Levia list you're playing tomorrow?
Oh my god, dude. We are playing this spicy Levia deck. So, if you keep up with Arsenal Pass and stuff like that, Hidden Dill played a more a traditional Levia list and stuff like that, and I heard he 1-2 dropped.
Yeah, but that guy blocks.
Man, he blocks. Americans don't block. But I would say we are playing a no-block Levia, and I will sit there and take every crush possible tomorrow, and if I top 8, every single time I win, I'm just going to laugh at my opponent saying that, you lost to Levia. That's actually probably the worst part about this, is that if I actually win a game, I can physically say that my opponent lost to Levia, which I would just quit the game at that point.
Yeah,
If you lost to Levia, I don't think there's much else.
You are showing up and paying entry to this event solely for BM purposes.
For BM
and
purposes,
I completely respect
and
that.
the boys' moral support, there's, 3 of us now that have invites and stuff like that, so we're getting the invites for everybody else as well, so...
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll have to play Dory tomorrow.
Yo, I'm telling you that Axe Dory list.
All right, well, that about wraps everything up, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining. Again, we got a bunch of follows. I tried to shout you guys out as it went, but again, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully next time we have a nice event like this, we can, get in the booth again and get some commentary over it. It's good, Pete. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
And thank you guys so much for watching. It has been a wonderful time. Hope you all have a good night.